or depending on when you're watching this, good afternoon, good evening, or good night. My name's Ross, and as always told, out of Voice of Radio. So today we need to take a look at Glory of Team Rocket, that new set, which we've been expecting for a while, has gone and been revealed. It's actually out on the 18th of April, which is 4 weeks away. Which means that the full reveal, not including secret rares, of all the cards in the set, is only 3 weeks away. I was prepared for this to drop this week, because honestly, I kind of thought it might drop last week, but when it didn't drop last week, it had to drop this week. Had to be done, ladies and gentlemen, because, like I say, we got 3 weeks until they dropped the entire set on us. They kind of had to show us what was going on. And it is, as expected, a set which is all themed around Team Rocket's Pokemon. Yes, that does mean it's unlikely to feature other trainers' Pokemon. I wouldn't expect other trainers' Pokemon to pop up in here. We've not seen any revealed this morning, and frankly, it's not something that I would expect to see coming. I do think this is a case of, we've had the trainers' Pokemon. I know we didn't have that many, I'm sorry. And now we've got the Rocket's Pokemon, and that's where we are. Cool. So we might as well start off with what is clearly the real highlight card of the new set, and that is Team Rocket's Mewtwo. We knew this was coming. It's nice to finally see it now, isn't it? And what we've got is 280 HP on a basic Pokemon. For the record, this is absolutely absurd. This is a ridiculous amount of HP to have on a basic Pokemon. It's absolutely ridiculous. How many times have we had this in the past? Well, if you don't count tag teams, we've had one. We had Wailord V from back in Champion's Path. That had 280 HP. And yes, the tag teams were technically basics and a bunch of them had more, but they're free prize tag teams. We're not worried about them. So this is high. This is Wailord high. We've then got an ability, which is not a great thing, that says this Pokemon cannot attack unless you have 4 or more Team Rocket's Pokemon in play. Now, it says 4 or more Team Rocket's Pokemon in play. It does not say on the bench. It does not say other team Pokemon. So basically, you're talking Mewtwo and free bench Pokemon. If you can pull that off, you're allowed to attack with Mewtwo. But if you can't, Mewtwo does just sit there not being able to attack, which is a little bit annoying. Is the attack worth it? Well, yeah, maybe. 2 Psychic, 1 Colorless Energy, 160 damage, but you may discard up to 2 energy from your bench Pokemon, dealing an extra 60 damage for each energy card discarded in this way. And just for the record, it doesn't say basic energy, so you could discard special energy here and still get the extra damage, which is nice. So essentially, that's 280 on a basic Pokemon with 280. That's pretty sweet. But then we've got to ask the question of, well, hang on a second, what does this mean with our bench, and what does it mean with getting the extra energy? Well, in terms of your bench, it means you're going to be quite limited. It means that you've got, assuming you're not building up your bench with something like an Area 01 depths, it basically means that you've got 2 bench spaces that could be assigned to non-Rockets Pokemon, which is honestly a little bit annoying, I grant you. This is not an ideal situation. Nothing you can do about this, but right now that could be an issue if you want to be playing a whole bunch of support Pokemon, things to draw. And do remember, Mewtwo's got a high retreat cost of 3, so generally what we would do is we would look at this and go, well, hang on a second, just play Latias EX, that's a basic Pokemon, it gives you free retreat, jobs are good 'em. But we got to look at that in a different light when we remember that Mewtwo needs you to have at least 3 other Rockets Pokemon, which only gives you 2 bench spaces, which is a little bit of a problem if you kind of need to use one of them for a Latias. So I'm just putting it out there. Yeah. As for having to have the extra energy, that one's actually really easy, because we've got Team Rocket Spidops, who I might call Ariados, so let's just say it's definitely Spidops, and I'll pop a little note up on the screen if I accidentally say Ariados. And what we got with Team Rocket's Ariados here is an ability that says, once during your turn, you may attach one basic energy from your discard pile to this Pokemon. So in theory, you get 2 Team Rocket's Ariados down on the bench, and every single turn, you've got those 2 extra energy that Mewtwo wants. And it's very quick and very easy, and jobs are good 'un. So that's a win. At least you got the energy. And actually, while we're here, there is a Team Rocket's energy coming as well. It can only be attached to Team Rocket's Pokemon. If it ends up attached to a non-Team Rocket's Pokemon, it gets discarded. Remember, the rule is that tools generally can be attached to anything, but only work on specific Pokemon. Whereas this kind of special energy can only be attached to the relevant Pokemon and will be discarded if it ends up somewhere else. But it basically provides 2 darkness and or psychic energy at a time. Now, it's only 2 energy at a time, but it is 2 in any combination of psychic and darkness energy. So essentially here, you just attach the energy to this energy to Mewtwo, and then you only need 1 more energy to get rolling. Also worth pointing out, you can always energy switch from an Ariados here. And then that would get all the Mewtwo energy rolling in 1 turn. And that's where we end up with Mewtwo. It's clearly got a lot of potential. 280 HP is absolutely huge. It can hit 280 itself, but you need to have 2 energy to discard on the bench. You need to have a 3rd energy on Mewtwo in addition to Rocket's energy. You need to have 3 other Rocket's Pokemon. And I know we got stuff like Ariados, and that is obviously going to help, but I do worry here that it's just a few too many hoops to jump through. Either way, the damage cap and the HP alone make me want to have a play around with this. This one could be fun. But it's not the only Team Rocket CX that we were shown this morning. We were also shown Persian. 260 HP on a stage 1. Kind of shows you how high Mewtwo is. And what we've got is 2 energy. And you look at the top 10 cards of your opponent's deck. And then you may choose an attack from a Pokemon you find there and use it as this attack. I adore this. And do please bear in mind, this is 2 energy on a Rocket's Pokemon. So even though we don't have any double colorless energy right now post-rotation, it doesn't matter, we got Team Rocket's energy. So you whack a Team Rocket's energy on there and you're paying this straight away, jobs are good 'un. I adore this, but it's kind of weird and kind of dumb. But again, I say that with love because I adore this. The problem is, you don't know what you're going to find. Like, life is like a box of chocolates, so is this attack. Because in a really good case scenario, you use this and you see a Dragapult. And then all of a sudden, it's essentially 1 energy attachment on a stage 1 Pokemon. You're doing 200 to the active and dropping 6 damage counters on the bench Pokemon in any way you like. This is clearly ridiculous. I absolutely adore this attack for that. That's wonderful. Or maybe you hit something like a Wellspring Mask Ogerpon, and now all of a sudden you get to do 100 to the active and 120 to one of your opponent's bench Pokemon. Again, that would clearly be fantastic. There are some really, really nice attacks we can hit here. The problem is, it's it's inconsistent. It's not always going to work. Let's say instead of Wellspring Mask Ogerpon, you hit Teal Mask Ogerpon. Sometimes that's going to be absolutely wonderful, because it does 30 more for each, 30 damage base, plus 30 more for each energy attached to both active Pokemon. But if you're just using this against a Pokemon with no energy attached, you're only doing 90. It's not terrible, admittedly, but you're certainly not getting full value out of it at all now, are you? The answer is no. No, you're not. But let's say you hit something like an Ethan's Typhlosion. Well, Ethan's Typhlosion does damage based on the amount of Ethan's Adventure that you've got in your discard pile. So, yeah. That's not going to work. You're not going to get much value at all out of an Ethan's Typhlosion here, because you're not going to have Ethan's Adventure in your discard pile. So sometimes you're going to be just hitting ridiculous attacks and getting a redonkulous advantage, and that's going to be wonderful. But sometimes you're going to be hitting cards that you can't really use because the attack has some kind of extra requirement that you're not able to hit because your deck isn't actually built to use that attack. Either way, it's only one energy attachment on a stage 1 Pokemon. You are looking at 10 cards on the top of your opponent's deck. This is going to get worse and worse as the game goes on, because your opponent can essentially just take cards out of their deck to remove options from you. But especially if you can get this rolling like turn 2, I do kind of like this one. This one seems like an awful lot of fun. We do have a second attack here. Free energy, 140 plus confusion. No one's playing it for that. It's all about that first attack and having a lot of fun with it. So we've got our first 2 EXs, and frankly, I don't really know what to think. Because on the one hand, that Persian's attack is amazing, but I don't think anyone's going to argue it's a consistent thing that's actually going to work a lot of the time. And when it comes to Mewtwo here, I think that there's a lot of potential, but I also see that there's quite a few hoops that we need to be jumping through. What I will say is we've got our first illustration rare from the set, and that is Meowth. We've got illustration rare Meowth, which has gone and been revealed, and this one is absolutely stunning. The attack, by the way, you get to choose a random card from your opponent's hand and they shuffle it into their deck. It's actually not terrible. It's not great, but it's not terrible. We've also got 2 energy, flip 3 coins, 20 damage for each heads. Again, not terrible, because you will be able to use this with Rocket's energy, and you will be able to get some weak basic Pokemon in the early game. But it's one of those where it's kind of fun, but let's not get too excited about it. So there we go. That's what you need to know. And now it's over to you guys. Tell me what you think about these cards. Tell me what you're excited about. Tell me anything you want to tell me in the comment section. Go nuts! Be nice. And then make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitter at @TheWasi. That's where we talk about Pokemon and a whole bunch of other card games. And please do consider checking out patreon.com/PTCG Radio, where you can support the channel, get some bonus podcasts, join a Discord, and all kinds of fun things. But by far the most important thing, as always, look after yourselves till next time, would ya? Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching PTCG Radio.